Hello, this is the Radical Coach, and I'd like to talk to you today about narcissism and money. So let's get radical. Narcissists are either irresponsible around money or money is their god, and they just can't get enough of it. How does this happen? Well, narcissistic parents are mentally unstable and they have a personality disorder, and they're abusive parents. And they create narcissistic clones of themselves through their children, so it's multi-generational. In the narcissistic family system, there is typically a scapegoat and a golden child. The golden child is treated as a wonderful human being, lavish with attention and praise, above reproach, adored and always excused. Their successes are celebrated and their failures are swept under the carpet. The scapegoat child will be blamed for everything that goes wrong in the narcissistic family. They're used as a target, like a dartboard. And the narcissistic parent will feel justified to violently anger dump all their problems onto this child, because they are the problem, apparently. They will be shamed and belittled, and they will get the full force of their anger, because they don't favour the scapegoat child. They don't like them. And they might say things to them like this: "Oh, there's always something wrong with you. You'll never be good enough. I'm not going to give you any money. You'll just spunk it up the wall. Who asked your opinion? Shut that up and just disappear. Do you want me to hit you like the last time? Your mother deserves a slap, and you just watch your stepmatey. You'll be next. Don't ever try and protect your mum against me, or I'll kill you." So the scapegoat won't be treated equally or fairly. They're told that they will inherit very little or nothing at all, making that child feel worthless. And the narcissistic parent is notorious for doing this. And when you think about it, it's not going to make the scapegoat child into a happy adult, is it? The scapegoat and the golden child are merely a pawn in the narcissistic family system, an extension of the narcissist. So they won't have any real identity of their own, and they won't know about personal boundaries because they will be violated by the narcissist one way or another. And no one can repair what the distorted narcissistic parent has done to the scapegoat and the golden child. And they destroy a child's blueprint, which is their belief system. The blueprint's like our compass. It points us in directions that we believe we deserve, what decisions we will make and with whom in the future. And the blueprint will predict whether you repel or worship money. A damaged blueprint makes a person feel unworthy, fearful and empty inside, and the mind doesn't know how to fix those feelings. It looks in all the wrong places to find love. It seeks an outside-in approach, anything outside the mind. So that could be many different relationships, sex with many different people, all types of drugs, alcohol, food, gambling, impulsive and reckless behaviours, and of course money. So let's take a low-level narcissist, maybe the scapegoat person, who rejects money, because their blueprint has been corrupted, as I said before, by a narcissistic parent's abuse. They've not been encouraged or nurtured. And they may have a job and cash, but they lack money all the time. They don't seem to pull their weight, and they don't like sharing their money. And they make lots of excuses why they don't have any. Do you know someone like that? Do you feel your love is always being tested when you keep bailing them out with your money? And then we've got a high-level narcissistic type of person who excessively collects money because their blueprint has also been corrupted, and they're called the golden child, and they act like clones of their narcissistic parent. Even though they act very much like that parent, they will still be damaged by them. And their blueprint will be driven by status, money, and their ego will use the money as a love replacement, which doesn't work. But they're trying to fill their empty void by an outside-in approach. And their belief system, their blueprint, makes them worship, obsess, and think about money all the time. Money is more important than people to them. It's their God. And the blueprint is on automatic pilot. And it doesn't allow for guilty feelings, so they're quite happy to steal money from anyone. Be aware of that. And they have high-paying jobs, major breadwinners, but they are pathological about money because they're mean, they're stingy, and they're calculating. Which is not frugal or cautious. It's not fine or healthy. It's very unhealthy. And their blueprint in their mind drives them to use money as a weapon to manipulate, to terrorise, brainwash, and lie to people to gain power and control over them. And they really feel entitled to preach and lecture. Oh, they love to lecture people that there's not enough money to go round. So they can control every penny for themselves. Let me give you an example of someone I know who's 84 and is still married to a high-level multi-millionaire, ruthless penny pinching, lying, abusive, manipulative, chauvinistic husband for 60 years. Can you believe that? 60 years. She's still hanging on. She has a credit card, but it's only for show. She can only use it in emergencies. Like if she broke her leg and she couldn't drive herself to the hospital. The card could pay for a cab. So he could continue watching snooker or golf on the TV and not be disturbed or troubled by his injured wife. That's not good. And recently she was bedridden for 2 weeks. She was really poorly and she was left alone for hours in her bedroom with little food. And when she slowly recovered, she asked for her previous 2 weeks' housekeeping allowance. And he refused to give her any money because he said she hadn't spent the money on food. Oh, really? He felt entitled to abuse, control, and punish her with money. Because in those 2 weeks she had neglected his needs and she was of no use to him. He spends thousands of pounds a week gambling at the racetracks. He dines out in the best restaurants, leaves huge tips, never leaves the house without a couple of grand in his wallet. And that's secure with a rubber band because it's all falling all over the floor because it's so thick. He's 83. Don't think that they're going to mellow with age. Their obsession with money and abuse gets worse. So just like the example I've just given you of a high-level narcissist, their ego walks around with wads of cash and that makes them feel important. They feel superior and special. And they leave big tips to show off and get the best tables at the restaurant. So it's all about them. Let me give you another example of a client of mine who came to me after her divorce. Her narcissistic husband demanded she hand over every bill and receipt she had, so he could record everything she spent onto a spreadsheet he kept up to date on her for 25 years. This blocked her trying to stockpile any money of her own for a rainy day, in case she needed to escape from him and get out of the marriage. So she was manipulated and controlled by money. To control her, he had to control the money. And he was always prying into her financial affairs, opening her bank statements and letters without asking her, giving her no privacy, not treating her as an individual, but an extension of himself. But he had different rules to her, of course. He analysed every penny she spent over the last 25 years, even down to how much her bras had cost him. He could look it all up. And on her birthday, she was allowed to go and buy takeaway fish and chips, so she didn't have to cook on her birthday. Abuse and control. And all the time he was stashing more money away to spend on himself. The narcissistic, high-level, ruthless penny-pinching, lying, chauvinistic, bra-counting husband drove a new M-Series BMW while she drove a beaten-up old Volvo. They lived in a detached 5-bedroom house that definitely needed refurbishing, but he wouldn't spend a penny. He certainly wouldn't improve the property if she wanted it improved, like getting her a new kitchen. Oh no, she wasn't allowed that. But he spent hundreds of pounds a week drinking and gambling, while she stayed at home every night on her own, looking after their 3 children. Control and manipulation. She finally divorced him. Hurrah! Unfortunately, because she had little money of her own, she used a narcissistic-free, wet-behind-the-ears type of lawyer on a budget. And she was eaten by the wolves in the divorce court. Her husband lied and cheated her out of what she was entitled to because he had the money to pay a ruthless, dog-with-a-bone, savvy lawyer who thinks like a narcissist, who knew how to keep the husband's assets out of the law courts. Eventually she bought a small house. What did he do? He bought a brand new, so it didn't have to be refurbished, top-of-the-range house in the same postal code as her to intimidate her. So are you a partner of a high-level, ruthless, penny-pinching, lying, abusive, manipulative, chauvinistic narcissist and want a divorce? Or you just want to leave them? Are you sick of their verbal abuse and shitty controlling behaviour? Do you just want to leave and find some peace? Just receive what you're entitled to, so you can finally move on and live an independent life you have dreamed about for years, where you can have people come and visit you without being on edge all the time. The narcissist has been prepared for your betrayal for years, that you might leave them. They've never seen you as their equal. And they never had any intention of letting you see the cash they've accumulated. They've been scheming and stashing money away from you when they turned up as the fake Prince Charming, when they were love bombing you and started dating you. They were stashing money when you were going on holiday, every time they verbally abused you, when you were moving in together, when you got married, when you went on your honeymoon, before your children and their growing up stage. They've been obsessed about keeping money away from you from all of that time. They never had any intention of being anything more than selfish and controlling. If you're not an equal partner to them, you're certainly not going to get equal amounts of money. Wake up. Remember, they will lie till they die about their assets and cash. Their thoughts are obsessive about money. 1, how to spend it or not spend it. 2, how to gain more money. 3, gain an ally to help them hide the money from you in case you leave them. And this could even be one of your children, the golden child. Watch how they are with you, and if they ganged up on you and turned on you recently. It'll be about money. Don't forget the narcissist tells lies. So if you have a narcissistic child or children, they tell lies too, especially about money and the inheritance. They love to cheat you out of money. And it doesn't matter if you've been with them for 10 years or 30 years. You've never been their equal, so you deserve nothing. They're dangerous around money and other people's money because they don't care how they accumulate it. They just want more of it. It's like a drug. They're addicted to money. And ask these questions to yourself because they're really important you do this when seeking legal advice. When was the last time they dealt with a high-level, penny-pinching, deviously ruthless, lying narcissist who wants to rob you dry and lies till they die type of person? What lengths are they going to go to investigate hidden money? How much time are they going to spend investigating offshore accounts? And if they've done it before for other people, what was the outcome? Did they get their fair share, their fair settlement of what they were entitled to from the high-level penny-pinching narcissist? And if they haven't achieved this for other people, and you can't find a reference of them doing this for other people, don't use them. You will not get what you're truly entitled to. You need a ruthless, dog-with-a-bone lawyer who thinks like a narcissist. And don't forget, parting with their money will tip them over the edge. Nobody can outsmart them over money, especially you, the stupid and worthless one. And if they've put properties in their own name or a company name and they tell you nothing belongs to you, they're just lying again. Nobody is living in the Victorian era anymore, apart from the abusers and the narcissists. You have rights, and knowledge is power. You are entitled to leave them if you don't want to be around them anymore, and you are entitled to have some of the money that you've worked together and brought up their children with. And think of all the times you stood by their side and helped them. You've sacrificed your own wants and dreams. All those choices and decisions you weren't allowed to make. The people and the places you weren't allowed to go and see. The freedom you gave up. The abuse you've suffered. The lies and humiliation you've had to endure all these years. The attention you needed so badly, and they simply refused to give it to you. They gave you negative attention, but not what you really wanted, love. And all the times you've had lack of praise and encouragement when you needed that from them. Their lack of trust in your views and your opinions, because you're not allowed views and opinions, are you? Unless you agree with them. So bear this in mind. You've suffered an awful lot, and it's now time for you to educate yourself. And knowledge is power. And I want you to also look at the family dynamics and money. If you have children with a narcissist, they will use money as a weapon on them, just like they do you. And they'll manipulate your children and control them with their money and their assets and their threats. Be more mindful and be aware how they dangle money over you and your children like a carrot and play mind games with you, with all of you. And think about your family. Are you all living in the when syndrome? They won't give you money while they're alive, will they? When I die, you can have this. You can have that. You can sell all the properties. You can have the jewellery I bought your mother as an investment. Although the jewellery's yours and it's not theirs to sell. They didn't buy it because they liked it. It was an investment. So really, technically, in their mind, you're not entitled to it. And you can't trust anything they say. They bait people with their money so they can anger dump on them. And money creates fear for people in the family. And I've heard of so many families that stick around the narcissist, maybe you as well, in case you lose your inheritance or what you're entitled to. And the narcissist money makes you think twice about saying no to them. Doesn't it? Say the no word. I'll give it 3 seconds and wait for the explosion. I have all the money. You dare say that to me. Don't cross me. Don't you disagree with me. You're nothing and nobody without me. I own you. If you leave me, you know the consequences. I hold all the power and the purse strings. You won't go far away from me. They may even tell you that you're not loved by your own children. And that if you leave them, the children will stay where they are because that's where the money is. That's so spiteful. And everyone in the family is living in the hope syndrome. Everyone around who's still there takes all their verbal abuse because you honestly believe things will get better. They will be kind. They'll stop abusing you. They'll suddenly become generous with money. There'll be a price to pay if they spend it. Why are they suddenly going to be generous with money? It will spoil their mind games they play on you. And people in the family should be very aware of the golden child. It's a narcissistic parent's cheapest ally. The golden child can't be trusted, and they'll steal money from anyone in the family, including their own mother. The golden child is a clone of their narcissistic parent, and for years they've been sucking up to them, providing their loyalty and worth, becoming their confidant, mentor and advisor. Because over the years they want more money left to them in the will. And they'll do anything to keep in the wealthy, narcissistic good books. The golden child has proved their loyalty and worth and has agreed to start a smear campaign that spreads vicious lies, causing trouble to divide and conquer the family, to get more money for themselves. So let me give you a scenario. Maybe the first choice will be they'll smear the mother if she's the victim, for example. So the family thinks she's causing trouble and has suddenly turned into a gold digger, although she's been around for 20 odd years. The golden child doesn't think she deserves anything anyway. And they certainly don't trust what she'll do with it once she leaves and she's sprung the nest. And of course, smear the scapegoat, because they don't deserve anything anyway. And the narcissistic parent has been bad-mouthing them to the golden child for years. So they're brainwashed into not liking them anymore, even though it's what they say about them is not true. And then they'll smear and wind up all their other siblings. So everyone's turning on one another about who gets what. Money. And the favourite golden child is a greedy adult who knows they will be left more money in the will than anyone else. They've already wangled their way to become the executor of the parents' sizable will. So nothing is vague where the golden child and money is concerned. It'll all be in black and white. And when the narcissistic parent dies, they then go in for the kill and take the lion's share of all the money. Because they've made sure that the high-level narcissistic parent will bestow upon them the largest amount of the inheritance, leaving the other siblings with a minute portion of the total. But they don't care. They've got no conscience about any of this. Money is their addiction, and they don't care who they hurt to get it. Like a drug addict, they don't care who they hurt to get their fix. All the time, they've just been waiting for the parent to die so they can inherit the entire estate and lead a life of pleasure and comfort. And the narcissistic golden child may even abandon their own children and partners to move on for a better luxury of life. They might not look back, and they won't view the psychological and monetary destruction they've left behind. They don't care about other people. And even after they have more than their fair share of the money, they will still feel the lust for more money. They might even form romantic relationships to gain another victim and more money. And in all of this, the scapegoat child will be the most hurt. So I'd like you to look out for vlogs on the scapegoat and the golden child on YouTube, where I can give you a bit more information about that dynamic. And I hope that you're seeing money and the narcissist in a clearer light, and that you try and see what is really going on in your family dynamics and money. Until next time.